Happy November 1st, everyone. Let's take a moment to do that again. Breathe and exhale out. Today I call in the presence of my ancestors and my spiritual family and my divine mother and father and my higher inner being and spiritual self. Today I wanted to come on and say we're almost close towards the end of the year and also reaching the beginning of a new year. After my meditation this morning, it's been in my mind for a while, but I figure, sometimes you gotta just stop thinking and just do and act. And something that caught my attention was a quote, and it's by Thomas Merton. And he says, "Ask me not where I live and what I like to eat. Ask me what I am living for and what I think is keeping me from living fully for that." And so, for those of you who like anime, let's see. The current anime that I'm watching right now with my husband is, what is it called? Sorry, totally had a brain fart, but the anime is called My Hero Academia. And in this anime, it starts from the beginning where you hear about a story of this really great hero, and you meet the character of this boy named Midoriya, and he's actually born with no powers in a world where about 80% of the population has some sort of power or quirk, unique gift given to them. And his whole entire dream was to become this pro superhero just like his idol. But he ends up finding out that he'll never have a power, and it's really disheartening because that's all he's ever had in his heart, this desire to become. And so really the story of the anime is you hear him narrating from the future, like, this is the story of me, how I become the greatest superhero of all time. And then you have to really, you see his beginning story. How did he become the superhero? You don't know how he looks like yet, but you know that's where the story ends up being. And so this made me think about the most recent theme in my life is when it comes to dealing with trauma, and really becoming a better version, or becoming and growing into that desire in your heart of what you want for yourself. Like, how do you do that? When you just have this feeling or desire, but you don't know how it will look like. And so that's what I've been going through the past couple of months. And I've begun, diving into a lot of energetic works, energy body work, where the belief is that what you see, if you keep holding on to the physical world and what you currently have at face value, if you aren't able to let that go, you don't have the space to receive what could be. And so I've had to learn a couple of techniques, especially when it comes to my meditation. Not only do you have to have a desire, but allow yourself to open up and really dream more with this desire in your heart. And as I'm speaking, I'm seeing, like, the way I would describe it, it's like you have a passion and that burns bright within you at the core of your heart space. And you can imagine a pink light, or really ideally it would be green light. But if you're looking at love, you want to imagine this pink aura around it, right? You want to allow yourself to embrace the fullness of this desire. And so going back to that, it's where I would learn about, if there's something that you want for yourself and you want to really embody that, you have to believe, not only believe, but you have to learn what entails into this cultivating and growing into that space that you're looking to build and receive. And then next step from that, it all, everything begins from a thought, which is the mind, but then your body has to embody that. And the only way it can embody this desire, this thought that comes from the mind, is when you allow yourself to experience new experiences. And so this is where you have to begin to envision this new you. And I was having problems envisioning my new self, and I'm like, how do I do this? How do I bring this out to light? And a good tip that I received from divine guidance was, imagine yourself, as an actor in your role playing. If you, back in the day of like the MSN chat rooms, like ever played role playing games, for you older people out there, like you role play a character and you carry out the story. And for example, you have to envision yourself like, what would this character be doing? Where are they? Where's the setting? What are the morals and values? What is it, their convictions that they're fighting for, right? All the little details. And the more you practice this sort of playing the role of a character that you're desiring, or whatever it is, the belief that you're wanting, the easier it gets for you to, like, your brain starts to give you images and expand, because the way the mind and the body connection, the whole energy scope of manifesting desires works, is that you have to let go of old thoughts are no longer serving you and begin to embark on a journey where you're daring to dream bolder, or to think outside the scope of your limiting beliefs, or beliefs that you've just been practicing out of habit because they're comfortable. And then from there, slowly, this whole envisioning process, and by you affirming yourself over and over what it is that you're looking for, by, again, reflecting back on what it is that you don't desire for yourself, and then reaffirming what it is you do want. So if that's a little confusing, for me, it's like, I want to be a person who walks out in life, outside the rooms of my own comfort zone, and, be that person who's very still strong in her faith, happy, outgoing, and it could be on the rims of like being annoying, positively annoying, regardless of what other people are saying or thinking, because that's my nature. And still holding true to who I see myself mentally, in an energetic level, and that maybe you can equivalent that to like a dream state level, but that's who I want to embody. And as opposed to the old me, or the old conditioning of years of it I've done, is not speak up when I truly feel, or to, maybe not look at a person in the eye and say hello, like show the opposite effect of what it is that I want to be, which is that friendly, outgoing, positive person, and reverting back to the shadow self, or parts of me that are more negative feeling than positive. And so that's where the quote that I read to you in the beginning made me think about, like, what is it that's keeping me from living fully that, and it, it's a lot of things. There's that's a good question. And at least for me personally, it would be, all I could ever remember was when I was younger, because I didn't grow up with you know, happy childhood. But I remember my only desire was, um, I've always been into like superheroes, Sailor Moon, anime, and envisioning myself as someone with powers and magic and, just like being surrounded by like a lot of sparkles and happy, lovey dovey feelings. And I remember one time when I was walking in the forest and I had first got into meditation, like even it was a very brief time, back when I was exploring the whole spiritual practices of like um, earth and nature, um, and tuning in with life. And my desire was like, all I ever want from my life is to like realize, is there something more? Like I had this gut feeling that there was something more out of life just beyond of going to school, going home, doing the home mundane routine. And I was a child who was very like bored of everything because just everything that I did just seemed like it was monotonous and I needed some spark of something beautiful in my life. And when I sat down in the forest, um, that was my first connection with the universe. Like I just felt like when you're in meditation and like you're really connected to your inner being and to the energy of life, you feel as if time slows down. And that was my first encounter. And then after that, a lot of things happened in my life. But as soon as I have found my way back, or the universe grabbed me back, saved me, now it's like, what is, again, going to that anime, Midoriya, they talk a lot about superheroes. And like, for you to become a superhero, you have to be really convicted, like in this desire, because you're going to go through so many trials in your life. So many. And most of the trials in the beginning is just training. And if you don't have that firm belief and desire in that thing that you want, you might just give way to anything and run away from any battle. And for the longest time now, like, I just been knowing that, I'm like, what is it? Is it a business that I want to create, or what is it that I'm wanting to do? But my desire still goes back to that one prayer and wish that I had asked for back in the woods. And it was that I wanted to know that the universe was real, that I am connected. There's something bigger and greater, not just from what I see, because if this is it, this is boring, to be honest. And that hasn't changed. And a lot of prayers could be different for everybody. Your greatest desire, what is it that you're wanting? Like, I know some people say their greatest desire is to have a life partner, and then that prayer is granted, And for mine was that. And so if that was my prayer then, and it's not changed, no matter what I do, that means that no matter what I do, I have to be strong in my conviction that in my superpower, now that I know that's answered, that's what I want my superpower to be, out there in the message, out there in the world, no matter where I go. If it's at the gym or at work or at the supermarket, no matter where I go, I show that part of who I really am, because that's all I ever wanted. and so that's what's been holding me back. Is my prayer and is my desire enough? Is that all I want? I'm like, yeah, that's all I want. If I had a superpower, would be that I can instantly connect to who my true power source is. And from there, everything that I want for myself, or, I need, all my needs are met. I don't have to worry about anything else, because I could just live in the flow of life, ebb and flow of it, I've been listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's like a neuro psychiatrist, I'm not sure, but he does a lot of work with like the brain and thinking and like helping to change habits. And he said, again, this is where this all comes from, is where he says all desire stems from a thought. And the way our bodies work is that emotions, if you want true change in your life, it's not enough for you to learn something, but you have to practice what you learned in order so your body can learn to experience this new thought. So essentially you're training your body so it understands what your mind already understands. And this is where this week I was talking to my friend Emily, and I let her know, I was noticing that. It's like I do a lot of self-growth inner work, but I never practiced it. And so that's why I would revert back into a lot of situations, to that old self-defeating, limiting self that I did not want for me. And it's scary to step out to the uncomfortable and do what you already know what's right for you to do. But this is where the whole envisioning work actually helps to encourage you to move forward in that. Because in your mind, he says the greatest thing of being a human is the fact that we can change ourselves by a thought alone. Because we are the only species of life out here who are able to think. And by cultivating a thought, you're actually able to change the belief system that your brain has already memorized and engraved. And he said, if you're reacting out to the world based off of what's going on to you physically, what's actually acting first, those actions and those triggers responses, it's your body. And the body, actually, the language of the body is emotions, and the language of the mind is thoughts. And if you fully want to change and receive and achieve, grow into that space of what you want for yourself, again, it's not enough for you to learn something. You have to practice, and do, so you can embody and begin to live out that character that you've been practicing in that space for. And so that's what my current meditation practice is involved or evolved into, where I'm envisioning who is this person that I desire in my heart to be. What does she do? What are the, my current spaces? What are the spaces that I go to? Maybe that I perhaps acted on from the space of where I didn't want to be from. And then, learning from your mistakes and seeing that your mistakes or things that don't go your way are learning lessons. And again, so for my example, it would be me taken into a meditation space. What is it that you could do better? And that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. He says that true growth is when you are actually able to be better than the situation that you are in. And that's growth. And really, those are my thoughts for this week in terms of my meditation practice. And my question for you is, what is it that you are being held back from that you're really wanting, but you have yet to fully allow yourself to embrace that and live it and own it for yourself? And try to think about why is it that it's holding you back? What are the fears? What are the thoughts? And if you don't know what your desire is, or what are the thoughts exactly, then I would recommend for you to just go and take preferably 10 minutes minimum, but you can start off just being 5 minutes to yourself in the beginning or at the end of your day. Quiet space and sit down. And I always begin to practice by calling on the energies, positive energies of love and light, the universe, and my spirit guides and family. Whatever resonates with you, to help clear out the fears and confusions so that I can better understand myself. And when I do a tuning in that regard, I go in, close my eyes, look at your heart space, and imagine a green light. You can even place your hand there, or you can use little crystals. This is a rose quartz. And just focus on that space and breathe. If you find that pure quietness is a little hard for you, perhaps put some nice calming music. They have great ones on Spotify. And then from there, as you tune in and you just focus on your breath while imagining your heart space, allow whatever images, whatever thoughts that come up to you to just be received, and realize that it's really your inner guide, your inner higher spiritual self speaking to you, answering the questions that you're asking divine guidance for. And then from there, I would recommend you to get a journal and write it down, because you might forget. And if you're a person who wants mantra meditation, a good angel to call on is Angel Luvia, is how I pronounce it, but his name is spelled Leuviah. And Angel Luvia is actually the angel of memory. And so there's something that you're wanting to recall, or even asking, again, your inner spirit, like that memory, that desire, the fears, help me to be embraced in love so I can face this and move forward. I hope this helps, and thank you for watching. Leave any comments below of any questions in terms of your own path or what you might have, and I will definitely answer them. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Blessings. Sat Nam.